I suppose before we start, on behalf of the city of Bilbao, who will be hosting the final, we're so sorry. I can apologise in advance. We can only apologise in advance.
They'll be sporting Spurs.
Yeah.
They absolutely will. Manchester United 4.
Europa League's gone full English.
There we go. Manchester United 4. Athletic Bilbao 1. 6-1 on Ag. Easy peasy. It'll be an all-English final, of course. What a victory, Vish, for Manchester United.
Yeah, it was. It was essentially won not just in the first leg, but in the lead up with the loss of, Inaki and Nico Williams and Sancho as well, who's their leading goal scorer. And then the first 20 minutes happened, and I was like, right, but they still have other good players. I see.
Yes.
Andy Brassel didn't warn me about this. What's going on here? It was convincing in the end. It didn't start out convincingly, but then what did you expect?
It was, how do you approach...
This is Manchester United we're talking about.
This is this Manchester United. How do you approach that game, Jim? They were obviously 3-0 up from the first leg, and they did well in the first half of that first leg to exert their dominance and their extra man, getting that third goal. They didn't get the fourth. People were thinking, at 4-0, the tie's really dead. 3-0, it's nearly dead. They started the game thinking, okay, it was almost like the Mourinho philosophy of, if they have the ball, we can't make a mistake.
Yes. I think, though, there is a sense with this iteration of Man United, particularly in the Europa League, that they need that little bit of jeopardy to show them their best selves. We've seen it. We saw it against Lyon, didn't we? The ridiculous kind of topsy-turvy nature of that game.
Completely sucked Lyon in, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, exactly. Yeah, they did not expect what was coming at the end, and that's given the momentum that they've still taken into this tie. Yes. But genuinely... Man United have had a very, very difficult season. Of course they have. But in the Europa League, they've been excellent, you have to say. And obviously, the Lyon game comes with caveats because they put themselves in a situation that is absolutely ridiculous. But you then still have to dig yourself out of that, and you deserve credit for that as well. And actually, this felt like the culmination of Man United in Europe this season going, you know what, this is ridiculous. We can't play like this anymore. We have to be more sensible. And the way they've approached this tie, it's been just night and day, really. And they asserted their dominance in a way we've not seen them do in a long time across both these games.
Yeah, we'll come to Spurs in a bit, but both English sides, there's an element of sensible play, Peter.
I think the way that they approached this match was, I couldn't figure out whether it was either bait them into an attack that they could exploit on the counter-attack or just contain them. Either way, they were dropping a lot of passes, and until the substitutions happened, I think they were not in a little bit of trouble, but they seemed to sort of, they had a few chances, I suppose. But
when Garnacho misses that one.
Well,
in the first half, it's like, oh.
It was such a lovely pass as well.
It was.
Dogger playing that lovely pass, and Garnacho's his acceleration to beat the defenders and just before half time. And
it would have been perfect.
Lifting it over the keeper. But that's Man United this season, isn't it, really?
But when you saw that, though, they were 1-0 down and he misses that chance. Let's be honest.
100%.
Everyone thought, oh. Right.
Yeah. Best player on the field was Lenny Yoro, and he...
Right, until Mason Mount came on.
Well, perhaps, yes. Until he gets into...
You see what you've done there?
See what you've done there?
You've baited him into the... You baited him into an attack.
Into a mounting, exactly.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk about Gareth Southgate's Manchester United then.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my luck. Maguire, Shaw, Mainu, Mount, all on the same. Tom Heaton on the bench.
It's like a Vince McMahon meme. He's just naming all the players as he goes down.
10 Premier League starts since he moved from Chelsea in 2023, according to this running order. Now,
my Manchester United.
This
is what this is.
Should they have paid that amount of money for a player who's just had a pelvic operation,
did you see those
can
two
create
goals?
More problems elsewhere?
Each goal was worth 25 million for me.
Right, okay, right.
Come on.
I mean, the technique on both of them was just obscene, wasn't it?
That first goal.
The first goal is not a Mason Mount goal.
No, it's a Makeda goal.
Yeah.
Right? It's a lovely reference.
The same part of the field that Makeda scores that goal against Aston Villa way back when. But yeah, he's not... I've never seen him do that. I really like Mason Mount. I was chuffed he got this moment. It's been just... genuinely unbearably sad watching him
watching a Portsmouth-born Champions League winner go through this.
With a kind
There's
face.
so many of them.
Even the fact that he's grown a beard now, I was like, oh no, you can't be that weathered. He's supposed to be full of spunk.
I just wish that it's the pelvic operation.
Yeah, well, it helps a beard as well. But for him to have that moment, So you just hear the producer going.
Yeah.
But for him to have that moment
and release a bit of spunk.
Yeah, and on such an important day. And clearly, like, his celebration when he scores that first goal,
Yeah.
he tries to, like, be a bit arrogant, and it just doesn't work.
A bit, yeah, it's me.
He's like, oh, what do you expect? It's like, well,
not this,
mate.
not this.
We generally
You've
don't
not
know.
played, mate. You've not played.
And the second goal was just the product of all that confidence, because he spoke on TNT Sport afterwards that because he knew he was in front of his midfielder, that when the goalkeeper made the clearance, he knew he was going to have a shot, but he knew he had to take the shot straight away. So he takes the touch with his right foot and then smashes it from range with the left.
I mean, they were also through comfortably at this point.
No,
It's an injury time, but yes.
Sure, but there's like, you still can look like an idiot.
It was the right thing.
Individually.
You still deserve the praise if you pull off something so difficult. My favourite thing about that was one of the Bilbao defenders just tries and fails to slap the ball out of the air.
Can imagine some most
I'll take the red because they're just taking the piss now.
I don't want to be suspended for the final. Oh fuck! I should have just done it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It just capped off a wonderful night for Manchester United. I thought Rasmus Højlund had done the capping when he got his goal. Nice for him, but no, it was Mason Mount that had the final cap. Athletic manager Ernesto Valverde said afterwards, the result isn't real. We had Man United on the ropes. And again,
that's fair.
In their first leg, you saw how the game was playing out. 7-1 on aggregate. I don't think anybody would have predicted that before the game.
No.
But I mean, again, I think Vishu said at the time, they were too up for it in that first half. There was this sense of destiny and all this sort of thing. And I understand, you've got to press home your home advantage, but it is a funny old thing, football. If Williams scores that header in the first leg, blah-de-blah, but he didn't. If Declan Rice scores that,
this is it, isn't it? You've got to be ruthless in these moments.
Yeah, exactly.
And sort of mentally present enough to just bury these chances.
When you simply have to give an enormous amount of credit to the side that have won 7-1 on aggregate. And I mean, before the game, Ruben Amorim came out with some more brutal honesty, and he said, for me, we are the worst team since I arrived in terms of results. At the end of the season, we can be the worst team in the Premier League history with a European title. I still feel that this season was the worst in the last 50.
Is this getting a bit kinky? Is this getting a bit, I'm a dirty boy. Oh, I'm so dirty. I need to be cleaned really up.
Bad. Oh. You're the worst, Red Devil.
I mean, the devil is the one inside me, making me do these terrible things. Setting up a defence like that.
Your moustache makes so much sense sometimes, and now is one of those times.
Jim, I think you were going to say something.
I was, yeah. I was going to wonder, how long this will continue with Ruben Amorim. Obviously, I didn't really watch his press conferences at Sporting. Maybe he was like this. But if they win the Champions League next season, will he be like, yeah, I mean,
I'm just a nasty
it's good to win it, but we're a bunch of thick losers. So, we're probably the stupidest bunch of idiots to ever win the Champions League.
It's working.
It's just how he operates.
If he did that at Sporting, it worked. And they're in a bleeding final. I find it funny. I mean,
Gyökeres, you overrated, mate.
Yeah, right. There you go. Just slag everybody up and see what the reaction is. I mean, I for me, they'd be favourites in the final. I would fancy that.
I know what you mean. It's an interesting thing to say, and a lot of Spurs fans will be listening to that going, well, they've not beaten us in 6 attempts.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. There's something about the big stage.
The run has been a bit less favourable to Man United. Is that fair to say? And they just look a little bit more.
I think so. Yeah.
I would say so. I think, but it was the point that Paul Scholes made actually after the match, and said. He said just a tiny comparison with Real Madrid in that Manchester United, they just seem to manage to win trophies and get to finals, because bearing in mind these last few years, whatever it's been, certainly post Ferguson, obviously if you want to go right back, but they've won a fair few trophies since then. I think most clubs, the vast majority of clubs, would be extremely happy with what they've done. But everything in context, of course. But even in these Ten Hag and Amorim years and whatnot, Ten Hag still won the League Cup and he still won the FA Cup, and Amorim is on for the Europa League final for the Europa League, as Spurs are as well. And he said it's strange that we've been sticking the boot in all season, rightly so, and they've been a banter club, blah 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 blah. They've still got a few trophies and could have one more to show for their effort.
I think Manchester United are favourites for the final. But this is part of the legacy reinforcing, isn't it? That if they win it, they'll say, oh, this is just what we do. We just win trophies, and this, that, and the other. I don't think this particular iteration of the team have shown themselves to be noteworthy in that regard as winners, is what I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying the club in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, yeah.
There you go.
Get yourself some pinchos.
Why do you think I started supporting him in the first place?
Yeah, that's true. You know this more than anybody, I suppose. Yeah. It would be lovely for Tom Heaton to get a winner's medal.
It would.
It would be Rob Greene-esque, I would say. Well, they will face Tottenham Hotspur in the final, who, of course, did a very professional job.
They did.
In Norway. They beat Bodo Glimt 2-0 on the night, 5-1 on Ag. Again, an impressive victory in a semi-final. They were missing Maddison, Bergvall and Son, but
let's see what the injury list is like after that
yes,
pitch.
Indeed, yeah. But a comfortable, professional, cool, calm and collected performance from Ange Postecoglou Spurs. Especially
from Vicario, who caught Damocles with a couple of quite difficult sort of looping shots. But 31% possession tells its own story. That is a professional move from Ange, and it was kind of basically saying, like, it's one of those kind of performances that basically said it invited the other team to come onto them, and they beat them on the break. But Porro's goal was definitely a pass. I'd like to put that down. Would you? for a definite. That definitely was a pass.
Solanke's was a tackle. So really, it was 0-0. Yeah.
Not real goals.
Yeah.
Not my football. Hashtag.
Chalk them off.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. I mean, it again, with the difference between Spurs in the Europa League and in the Premier League, very similar to Manchester United.
Yeah.
Spurs have been, in the previous round against Eintracht Frankfurt, just the 3 goals over the 2 ties. And again, Spurs, they did what they had to do. There's perhaps a more sort of dogged determination about them in this competition, because surely, Jim, it has to be to do with everyone at the club has known for a while now that this is their season.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, isn't it? And also, I think there's a sense that because they go into this as heavy favourites, that gives you a natural confidence. Mm-hmm. And I think Postecoglou is quite good at getting that into his team. People sort of mocked him saying about the kind of, I always win a trophy in my second season thing.
By the way,
season, but I think that was a message to the players to have faith and to sort of stick to the plan. And I thought that was a very interesting thing at the time. But yeah, they've similar to Manchester United. They've looked a different team in this competition, more starkly actually, because you're right. They've played in a way in which Postecoglou himself has said that they won't play in the Premier League. That the whole kind of it's the way we play, it's who we are, etc. is very much in contrast to this performance. But it was obviously the correct way to approach the game in an absolutely stunning backdrop.
Yeah,
that looked like a sort of misty Norse realm.
Yeah,
yes,
lovely.
Yeah.
Such an amazing stadium, such a unique little place to visit.
And he said of the style of play that they adopted in this very unique place, I love winning. That's all I've done my whole career. People are dismissive of it. That's fine. I love the way the boys clearly understood what we needed to do tonight. And he was, he's been taking shots for a long time now as Postecoglou. Do you remember when he said, I always win a trophy in my second year, or the quote, which was, do you know how long ago that was?
That was this season.
Yeah, it was this season.
November, maybe, something like that?
September.
Right.
He said that.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So he's had that quote really hanging over him for so long. And everyone's going, well, you're not going to win anything. Well, if he's from September to, if they can do it, it will be massive time.
But I think we
the
have
grin on that man's face, he will have earned his right.
But
it's time, but now it's my time.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the liars.
I think you've got to take him at face value when he talks about how confident he is, right?
Well,
he genuinely doesn't give a shit what people say. I know there are points where it feels like the pressure's getting to him, but as I say, I think that it's a calculated thing that he said there, and it's because he believes in himself and he backs himself. And we're seeing that in their performances here.
But very different to say that in September when it was all to play for.
But it was in keeping with what he did during that first season.
Yes,
and I thought we covered it in a great deal of detail when he was first in the league. But a lot of the things that he was saying, and obviously particularly in that early start where they put together a decent run and looked like they had something that they could build on, and in the end they didn't. But even through the back end of last season, he was trying to speak things into existence, even things as low down as, come on, you've got to be bigger than the old lads, it's Tottenham thing. You've just got to snap out of it. And
all he had was snap out of it and the hamstrings exploded.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he is trying to kind of change the Tottenham narrative.
Yeah, and maybe it's being a bit British, but also being someone who works in cricket and spends a lot of time covering the things that Australians say. but they are genuinely just more comfortable with that than we are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
and they willingly say like, "Oh, Australia are going to win the Ashes 5-0 like a year before."
Yeah,
because they're like, "Okay, if we don't win it 5-0, fine. We still want to win it.
Yeah,
and we're still gonna, we're still gonna talk like that because actually we do believe that. And even if there's an element of doubt, we'll just kind of wash it away. And that's what he's like.
Are we a nation of people that fear jinxes?
And that as well, yeah.
I think that's what it is.
But it's not even like the jinx, is it? It's the I hope they don't make memes out of me on the internet.
Yeah. No, I think people from other countries maybe don't second guess themselves so much when they're talking. I mean, look, I think the criticism that Spurs and Postecoglou have had this season is justified. Because we see the position in the league. But I have to say, I didn't see this. I didn't see them reaching the final. A number of months ago, I was thinking I would maybe twist and sack him.
And you weren't wrong to think that. That's the thing. I don't think that there's any.
Well, indeed, but I'm glad in the context of the Europa League that I've been wrong, because he has taken a lot. And as I say, I've been critical. We've all been critical, rightly so. But you can see that when people say he's a bit prickly in post-match interviews and so on. Yes, but I understand that, because can you imagine what it's like the whole time? It's a bit like with Tenno, the whole time people are going, well, you're going to get sacked, aren't you? What about you? All this sort of stuff. And journalists have a responsibility, so, let's not be silly here. But for him to get them to a final is huge. And when they made the comparisons with Manchester United, with Amorim saying, well, if we win this trophy, it doesn't change the fact it's been a shite season. He's a bit like, but that's a different context. Yeah. Manchester United have won through. If we'd have had their trophy haul, then maybe. And he's right to say that if Spurs win this trophy, yes, it's the getting back into the Champions League. Getting back into the Champions League is a bonus, really.
Yeah,
for Manchester United, I think that's the bigger thing rather than the actual trophy. And of the four teams that were left in the competition, the most unromantic winner, of course, would be Manchester United. I mean, Bodo Glimt, obviously, they're out now. I mean, an amazing run for them, but that would be off the scale.
Yeah, Bilbao would have been great as well.
Exactly, Athletic with the whole all that business, as you say, Jim. The more romantic winner would be Spurs.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of trophy. But it's, that's not obviously how football works. And I also enjoyed Postecoglou's response to Arsene Wenger's claim recently that the Europa League winner should not be guaranteed a Champions League spot. And Postecoglou said, well, I mean, that's a debate that's been raging for years. Well, at least the last 8 days. I've never heard that before, so I've said it before, mate. Spurs does crazy things to people. He does have a point, maybe, with Spurs, perhaps. That do you think there's an anti-Spurs-ness? I mean, there certainly is in some parts of this room.
Certainly,
I'll have to recuse myself.
Rubbing his hands together.
Completely unconscious.
I don't know. What do you think of that quote, Vish, from Ange there?
I thought he dealt with it quite well, because I think Wenger was asked, wasn't he, about was it on Keys and Gray? I mean,
that's where all things get settled, isn't it?
Do we know if that was on air or was he hot mic?
Yeah, true.
We don't know. But
let's have a look at the last teams of the. No,
Get rid.
No, it shouldn't be in the Champions League.
But then, I thought Postecoglou dealt with it well. I really want to see like a boxing style press conference ahead of the final, but it's Amorim and Ange, and it's Ange being really aggressive and Amorim being really like, oh, but we're really rubbish. And I hate myself. Oh, don't be mean to me. I'd just be a really weird, interesting dynamic. I think they'd feed off each other's energy.
Yes, and you're feeding off that right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Dirty little so-and-so. Well, of course, this means that there will be 6 English teams in the Champions League next season.
Christ.
Oh, God.
That's too many.
Well, it's more
European Super League, isn't it?
More for PSG to win, to beat, isn't it?
Yeah. Have they won the Premier League
I think
this season?
So. Are
they the real Premier League winners?
I think that's probably what it is. Well, incredible. The Premier League will not be denied.
This
is on Europe. This is Europe's fault.
Right.
You can only beat what's put in front of you.
Exactly. It's a good point, actually.
This is European countries. You're a disgrace. For letting these two get to the Europa League final.
Yeah, we warned you. We did warn you. Well, you know what we're like, and you just let us in.
Let's not bother contesting.
All over you.
Let's not bother contesting the Premier League. Just figure out who's highest. Whoever gets deeper in the tournament, they're number one.
That's right.
They get the Premier League trophy, and they just sort it out like that, and then we wouldn't get so injured, and we'd be better in the Champions League. 10 teams next season.
Yeah,
lovely.
So first spot gets the Premier League trophy. I think that's already how it works.
I'd like a deeper explanation of this plan.
So you're going to rank them on wins?
Well, just like say you get to the semi-final,
right?
As an English club in the Champions League, you get 10 points, and if you quarter-final, 8 points, down.
There is a coefficient thing that there is a system.
I love
All
this.
right, fine.
Oh,
Well,
you know what would make football better? No football.
No football, yeah. In the Premier League.
That really would make you happy, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
Yeah, true enough.
Have a few days off, wouldn't we?
We would. I love the fact though that whenever you get whoever it is makes a final of a European trophy. You always kind of go, shame to say goodbye to them, but oh my goodness, it captures the imagination. Now, I appreciate Jim, you're an Arsenal fan, but PSG versus Inter is a mouth-watering game.
Yeah.
And you think about this, when you look at the Europa League this season, it's an absolute shit-off in the final, isn't it?
It's like a phone footage of a pub fight.
Yeah. But what I love is they better resort to Premier League Spurs and Man United for the final. I don't want to see any of their Europa League stuff.
It's Kimbo Slice having a fight in a car park.
Or is it quite literally they take kick-off and they're just booting it to each other? No, you make the mistake. You have it.
No, it's one of those weird fights they have in Japan where Manchester United and Spurs are on the same side trying to fight a bloke who's like 5 times their size.
Yes, yeah.
And constantly just getting kicked. Yeah.
3-on-1.
Oh my goodness. Right. Well done to Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. Let's have a quick.
So dirty.
Let's have a quick break.
We're going on tour. That's right, Football Ramble Time Tunnel is hitting Newcastle, Birmingham, Manchester, London and Glasgow between the 9th and the 17th of May. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the top corner of this video now.
Aguanta Caramusi, ¿cómo puede? Caramusi abrió la cancha otra vez con Cabrejas, el centro al área. Le queda Caramusi, la volea. ¡Gol! ¡Golazo!
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody.
Sounds like certain football podcasts where they've fucked up and their internal mic is being recorded instead of the main mic, and they try and fix it with AI.
Oh, no. Don't name names.
Don't do it.
Can we do that?
No, I'm not naming names.
All right.
Can we do that? We're speaking it to mics, hopefully.
Yeah, speak it into existence. Back in the Premier League, Liverpool face Arsenal on Sunday at 4:30.
What's the point of this?
I agree.
I agree. This is a dead rubber that's been chosen for television. You chose that.
This is like Community Shield level.
Do you know what? Is it a dead rubber? Of course it is for Liverpool, but Jim, Arsenal, they need to make sure
they ain't finishing second. I'm very, very sure of that. And
Liverpool
they need to be switched on. Well, Liverpool are. Obviously, you might look at this thinking they lost to Chelsea, etc., etc. Maybe the same sort of desire won't be there, but they're champions in front of the crowd at Anfield, which is a rare thing, isn't it? That you get to play that many league games in this era of football as actual champions,
and it's against
a rival who they've got an exceptional record against. It's been forever since Arsenal won at Anfield, so this is a really, really difficult game. Arsenal are not in excellent league form as we've seen, so yeah, I think it's going to be a challenging afternoon. They've got to be they've got to be very, very switched on in these last 3 games, because it feels like the season's petering out. It feels like everyone would just like it to be over, but there's still work to be done.
Oh yeah, I mean if you could blow the whistle on the season now, they would take it after that defeat against PSG. Mikel Arteta said that Arsenal were 100% the best team in this season's Champions League after being knocked out by PSG on Wednesday, and he means the whole tournament, presumably, by that.
Yeah, and I believe that he really does think that.
Yes.
Which I don't think. I think clearly PSG are the best team in it, you would argue. I think in terms of their balance.
I mean, I would say Inter.
Interesting.
But
I just think the balance of PSG...
Either we're both right, because they're in the final.
Right. But yeah, I suppose what he's saying is he's talking about essentially the chances that Arsenal managed to make and not put away against PSG. It's a mad thing to say. But
I
don't mind if he thinks
he
that.
sees him in training. He sees him in training doing great stuff, though, doesn't he? Exactly. We might not have seen all of the things that they can do.
I mean,
but we should have done.
Yes, that's right. I mean, the thing is, Arsenal gave a very good account of themselves in the Champions League, and I don't think they messed up against. Well, Donnarumma had amazing saves.
Yeah.
PSG are a very, very good side.
I mean,
And I think
Rice
it
and
was-
Saka could have done better with some chances, but
Yeah, I think it was, on reflection, I think it was probably a touch closer than maybe some people think, but it's all about the summer and recruitment now for Arsenal, really. But, before that, they've got to bloody well make sure that and in fact, I think finishing second, I think, even though there's no trophy, blah, I think surely that would be more pleasing than, say, dropping down to third.
Yeah,
or something
of
like
course.
fourth.
Absolutely.
It's a status thing at this point.
yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, it's funny because it's, at this point, by the same token, if they don't finish second, as long as they make the Champions League, it's not the end of the world. But you're right; it's certainly something to kind of hang your hat on. And part of the problem this season has been dropping points from winning positions and kind of failing to overturn deficits and all of the marginal things they were really, really good at. And that has to come back next season. And there's a sense that next season starts now almost.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Reports have emerged that Liverpool are interested in Kevin De Bruyne.
Outrageous.
That would be funny. Now,
I love it.
Outrageous.
respected journalists have denied it. Okay, but let's just.
I don't want to hear
enjoy
from
it.
them.
I want to hear from them.
Do not want to hear from them.
I think we've heard enough.
I think
from
we've
the
heard enough from
respected-
David Bloody Ornstein.
Yeah.
Get one wrong.
I love him in that side.
It'd be good, wouldn't it?
Use him like a 70s Land Rover on a farm. Beautiful.
Yes.
Haul some lamb carcasses around.
Yeah, like
Kevin De Bruyne, more into fielder.
or more like the Queen,
The Queen.
Elizabeth
Queen's Land
II.
Rovers, yeah.
when she'd like use her Jag.
Yeah.
Only on company. Only
Yeah.
on,
Only on private
Castle
land.
ground.
Only on
Yeah.
private
Firm
land.
land.
You don't need an MOT. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
They love her in that part of the world as well. So
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, get
Great
your own
analogy.
queen. Get your own queen.
All I heard in that was Pete saying, "Don't need an MOT."
Yeah.
Don't need an MOT on private land.
That was the takeaway
Yeah.
there.
yeah, it's very interesting the links with De Bruyne though, because there's talk that Villa might be interested. I've heard Spurs linked kind of spuriously as well.
Why
And-
Man United in there? Come on. They'd never sell him, but
wouldn't
like that's a proper Man United signing.
But it would
Get
be
a
very
year out of him
Hello,
and
is this Man
extend by
City? Can we borrow your Welcome to Manchester sign? We're just gonna make a couple of changes.
Wouldn't it be interesting though if he did do a season at another Premier League team, like when Frank Lampard went to Man City?
Well,
He was
I
still
thought-
excellent. Like,
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah,
Well,
you do, right?
Jesus.
It's weird, isn't it?
Well, Lampard, I mean, yeah, he was at New York City FC, wasn't he? And then was loaned back for a bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was all a bit
Totally
strange.
normal, yeah.
Beckham training at Arsenal. Beautiful.
Yeah, totally normal.
Totally normal.
Well, yeah,
Patrick
absolutely.
Vieira, isn't he?
Yeah, Vieira was at
Yeah.
City for a season.
Yeah, with MLS, you do get that kind of close season little fart about in the Premier League, don't you? Sometimes.
Well,
Just to keep it in.
Beckham was Serie A.
Yeah.
But
Oh, but
the links between New York City FC
Yeah.
and Man City.
And also with Beckham, as he cleared up in his Totally Honest documentary,
Yes.
he was just doing it to get fit for LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
Wasn't
And he only did it once.
he? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the once.
Yeah. Not,
David.
be honest. Yeah.
How many times?
Yeah. Take that little mushroom out your mouth.
I very much. Wow.
He cooks a little mushroom
I
at
know
the
he
end.
does cook a little
Yeah.
mushroom.
Yeah.
I was
It's not a sexual
hamming it up
thing.
for the camera. Yeah, but it sounded sexual.
Ham and mushroom.
Ham and mushroom. Ham and mushroom.
Yeah.
I think that Kevin De Bruyne has got a real Wayne Rooney size differential in him
Oh.
when he retires. I
Yeah.
cannot wait for him to retire. I think he's going to be Rooney-esque, and I cannot wait.
He likes baked goods.
He does like baked goods,
And
yes.
he likes
Good point, yeah.
baking baked goods, which
yes.
suggests he is an eater.
Right,
You know,
yes,
like,
yeah.
a lot of people
yeah,
are like eat for fuel, but he
Yeah.
is an eat for pleasure kind of
Yeah.
guy. That's the only reason to be into baking, and I really respect it. But in terms of a club, it's not going to work financially. I don't think. Well, the numbers definitely don't. I think he'd be a sincere answer here. I think he'd be brilliant at Brentford.
Ooh.
I think he'd fit in
yeah.
really
in
nicely
that Christian
there.
Eriksen role.
Yeah,
The
Kevin
sort
De
of
Brentford.
guest MVP.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Kevin De Brentford.
Kevin, yeah, it works. See, do it.
Mm.
Sell that name.
Do
Come
you-
up with Kevin De Brentford. Sell it and use the money to get him.
Just announce it. Just announce it,
Kevin
and
De
then
Brentford.
figure it out
Like
from there.
Theo Walcott, yeah.
I feel they might struggle for these wages, though.
Well, not if
Yeah.
they sell the
Yeah,
Kevin
that's
De
true.
Brentford.
Be a little bit more entrepreneurial down there, Brentford. And
Yeah.
you've got KDB.
Yeah, you like
KD
all
Brentford.
you like all doing funny stuff with numbers, and you like your stats.
Yes,
Stat
exactly.
this.
Yeah.
He could play in Ireland, Kevin De Bruyne. That's all I've got. Because Can't do any more Googling.
Well, actually, if there is a sort of transfer race, it's the battle of the De Bruyne, isn't it?
Oh,
And it
yes.
would presumably just appear in all of our Google calendars.
That's right, yeah. And a scene in Trainspotting 3. Right, let's move on very swiftly from all that. The Championship playoffs started last night.
With a bang.
With a big
3
old-
bangs.
Yes, exactly.
But 3 one-sided bangs.
Yeah.
Sheffield United beat Bristol City 3-0.
Annoying that. Isn't it?
Inevitable, was
That's them done, isn't it, really?
Yeah, Sheffield United did finish 22 points ahead of Bristol City in the league. They were on course for automatic promotion. Sheffield United, sorry to remind you of that, but lost 4 games in 5 back in April.
It really is all about momentum, and that is not momentum.
No, it
Well,
isn't, Peter.
momentum in the wrong direction.
I mean,
isn't
finishing with, what was it, 90 points they got?
it? Yeah.
And that
yeah.
was with a couple of points deduction and all that. It's still a very, very impressive.
The circumstances of the game, though, Rob Dickey getting a straight red for essentially just like sort of doing a wrestling move on Kiefer Moore in the box. Just
And what's
really
wrong with that?
hauling him down. It's just...
What have you against finishers, Jim?
To put it mildly, I'm going to say it's naive.
Right.
It's a naive
Right.
decision to make in such a massive game like that. It was 0-0 at the time. Obviously, Sheffield United tucked the penalty away. Momentum shifts entirely to them, and they did a really professional job of capitalising on it as well. And it's such a shame because it
We've never
just
seen
kills
Bristol
this as a
City
tie.
in the Premier League.
They'd be a
stuff.
brilliant addition to it. That stadium's amazing. It would be. It's a real shame that it's very unlikely that they're going to turn it around. Callum O'Hare scored an absolutely amazing goal. The third goal. It's sort of like it was like he moonwalked the ball into the net.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, did you see his dummy for Brooks's goal? He obviously won't get the assist, but he did a lovely little kind of jink and let the ball go through his legs for Brooks at the back post.
Beautiful. Sheffield United have the worst playoff record in English football, though. They failed to win promotion through end-of-season playoffs in all 9 of their previous attempts. So a chance for them to put it right. They're effectively in the final, though. But Frank Lampard's Coventry City hosts Sunderland tonight. Bit of an underrated rivalry, you could say, this one, when it started on the final day of the 1976-77 season, where Sunderland, Coventry and Bristol City were all fighting to stay in Division 1 on the final day. Coventry played Bristol City and their kickoff was delayed by 15 minutes due to traffic. Sunderland lost their game, so Coventry and Bristol City played out the last 15 minutes in a stalemate to ensure that both survived.
Disgusting.
Outrageous.
Disgusting, that.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game as well. Coventry have lost 17 games in the Championship this season. A lot of that was pre-Lampard.
Come
of
on,
course.
yeah.
But in terms of the season that they've had, to end up in the playoffs from the position they were in is really, really good.
Yeah, Lampard has been...
He's done a
heralded.
really great job. And Sunderland have lost their last 5 games as well. So this is really kind of... Who knows how this one's going to go?
Yeah, let's have some partisanship. Peter, who do you fancy for this one?
Well, I don't fancy Sunderland, but I would like them to get into the Premier League because that's where they deserve to be.
And you want 6 points for Newcastle.
I know. I want an easy 6 points for... No, not necessarily at all. Not necessarily at all. Thank you very much.
Okay, fair enough. Well...
See, you think it's going to be good for the area. Similarly, Jim for the Europa League.
Exactly. That's a good point, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Have you seen a videos doing the rounds this week that Coventry's Tatsuhiro Sakamoto hit a 180 in darts, a 180 with his first 3 darts he'd ever thrown in his life.
What?
Stunning stuff.
I'm calling absolute bullshit on that.
Okay, if they're all acting, they've done a good job.
I've never been to Japan, but I am reliably informed that there are 248 darts-specific bars in Tokyo, in the Greater Tokyo area. Darts bars are everywhere, and every bar has a dart machine.
Sorry. Let me rephrase it. It was the first 3 darts he'd ever thrown in Coventry.
Right. but
That's what they're saying.
The thing is, though, Pete, you could probably say there's, like, if you wanted to find a My Little Pony themed bowling alley that's only open at midday, there's probably 5 of those in Tokyo.
Yeah. I mean that is fair, but I mean there is
240,
just no way that you've never thrown a dart in your life. Fine, they have different darts. They have plastic darts rather than the metal darts. But in every second bar has at least a small digital version of a dartboard and a pop-up pirate. They're obsessed with pop-up pirate for some reasons. I have no idea.
In a pub?
Every bar has a pop-up pirate. It was launched
Like a real one in a barrel.
It was little fella in his pants.
Oh! And off we gone.
It was
Stop jumping. You're jumping every time someone stabs you.
Pop-Up Pirate was launched in 1975 under the name One Shot Blackbeard Crisis. Just call it Pop-Up Pirate, lads.
It was a good name.
It's already got a name.
It was a good name.
There's Pop-Up Pirate specific models that are just released in Japan. You can get this big barrel with 4 different pirates in, so you never know who gets.
How big are we talking? Like
it's pretty big, and a Pokemon version as well.
I have to go there.
You have to go there.
I love Pop-Up
Pirate.
Great.
place for you.
Let's get a big Pop-Up Pirate.
It's the only kind of children's board game which if I
It'll
think
hold your attention.
I think would be acceptable if we played it now.
What about Mousetrap?
Right.
It's going to take you 3 days to put it all together. It's,
fair.
You lose the pieces.
Screwball Scramble 2. There was a Screwball Scramble 2 nobody ever talks about.
2? What?
Doesn't have a
Now
Pop-Up
more
Pirate,
scramblier than ever.
It was Scramble Squared.
The mind simply boggles. Coming up after this, we've got Champions League places to be decided. Newcastle United host Chelsea on Sunday at midday. The City will be absolutely bouncing from the Football Ramble live show on the night before, and then they march into that game on Sunday at midday. It's 4th versus 5th in the Premier League, with both sides level on 63 points, a point behind Manchester City in 3rd. Pete Donaldson, it's a chance for Newcastle to press home this impressive season that they've had.
It is. It's a big match, and although we're going to be watching it in probably Rosie's Bar in Chinatown or Strawberry or something, we will be possibly enjoying a stronger performance than they gave against Brighton. They don't travel well to the Amex, and I'm expecting them to be firing on all cylinders in this match. I think they're going to. I think they're going to bloody steamroller Chelsea in this one. To be honest, I'm really excited.
Put
Come on!
Put up more of a fight than Djurgården did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chelsea won 1-0, of course, against them. Let's not forget the Europa Conference League in all this European football chat.
Well, there's a Spanish team in the final, and Spanish teams don't lose, do they? That's an interesting one there.
Yes, that is the Spanish spanner in the works, Jim.
Indeed.
I do find it funny that Europa Conference League will always be referred to as a European trophy. Mm-hmm. Just to make
they should just call it that officially. Just the title should be a European trophy.
Yeah, if the name itself brings so much shame, they should probably change it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they are going to face Antony's Real Betis in the final. They beat Fiorentina 4-3 on Ag after extra time last night. Antony scored a lovely free kick.
Banger.
Great assist as well.
Bloody was. Real Betis in their first European final in their history.
Could Antony finish the season with 2 European winners' medals?
Oh, that's a question, isn't it?
That is a good
You only
point.
get 50. It's always 50, isn't it?
Yeah, depending on how many appearances. But yeah, I mean, if he did...
Sancho.
Yeah.
What a club.
What a club.
The great thing there is I don't know which one you're referring to.
Yeah. But no, it's... I suppose he couldn't he?
Nice. I like
Presumably,
it.
yeah.
That is
Only one more to get.
good luck to
So you
him.
got the full set.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, it could be the same about Mason Mount.
Mm-hmm.
The big news in this match is obviously Jason Tyndall is back after serving a match ban for racking up 3 cards. Lovely.
Ah.
I love that, stepping in for Eddie Howe. Just don't do anything ridiculous. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
If we don't see him in the audience for the live show on the Saturday night, we'll see him in the tune after.
Get Tyndall out.
Yes.
What about?
But it is a huge game between Newcastle and Chelsea. And I mean, again, Chelsea, they've had their criticisms this season, but to end with a European trophy, which we all expect them to win, to be fair, and Champions League football, you'd have to say that would be a successful season, I think.
3 wins on the bounce as well. They're in good form coming into this.
Jim, Joe Linton has just returned from Brazil.
Oh,
hello.
Put him on the bench.
Just on the bench.
Just on the bench.
Yeah, Brazil's
just for the fear
Be
factor.
cautious at this.
Him and Jamal Lascelles just blocking throw-ins left, right and centre. We want this Champions League spot.
Yeah.
It's funny how, like I say, Chelsea have won 3 in a row. Newcastle drew their last one, won the one before that, and lost the one before that. And yet it does feel like Newcastle are the team with the momentum here. Possibly
Home
it's the
advantage,
home
baby.
advantage, yeah.
Well, I think that's what we all expect Newcastle. We're saying this for a few months now. That when they went on that run, it's like, Newcastle, they're gonna power their way to Champions League, and then of course they lost to Bournemouth, and then they went another run, and then they were gabbered by Villa. So I think a lot of people were thinking, that this is theirs now. But
Well, you know what you're going to get with them, don't you?
Yeah, but these last few games are crucial in this period of the season. I mean, you would very much expect Arsenal to finish in the top 5. Manchester City have their Southampton voucher this weekend. You would think that it's going to be them. But Villa, Forest, Chelsea, Newcastle, could be the other two as well, but let's just focus on them for a minute. It is all to play for. And with Newcastle, again with the season they've had, if they end up in the Europa League, it will be tinged with disappointment, having recently been in the Champions League. Chelsea see themselves, rightly so, as a Champions League club. I think we spoke the other day how Forest, perhaps Europa League would maybe suit them a touch better because they would have a chance of winning it. But then you've got Villa, who, on another day might have been even further than quarter-final Champions League. So a lot to play for, and I don't think that the Europa Conference League or the Europa League will be much of a consolation for them. But
they've acted as such, haven't they? And the fact that Reece James had to come out and say, look, he was almost apologising for the disrespect they've shown towards the tournament or by not taking it seriously. But everyone gets why they're not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Chance for everybody. There's always a chance. Always a chance.
Not with Newcastle's home record.
No, certainly not.
They've won the last 5. Up yours, everyone. We're having this. We're having this. It's time for this.
Dean Smith also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
Right, we got a live show tonight, lads, so no falling out, okay? The ruthless aggression you guys show sometimes on a Friday.
I think they prefer that if we fell out out of a live show.
Yes. Like Oasis.
Like one of those confected WWE storylines even.
Yeah, or even The View when they came and played in The View played in Manchester, didn't they? How'd they fall out?
Is that when they had that row on
Fisticuffs,
stage?
didn't they? Yeah. Right, last week on the show, on the game, Marcus ripped the world and intercontinental belts away from Vish after 17 weeks of vicious.
Only 17 weeks?
Yeah, you were away for a lot of them, though.
Yes, fair.
It's a simple game of categories, and let's play it. Vish, you're going to start, if that's okay with you. Every player that featured in the starting lineups in PSG's last Champions League final versus Bayern Munich in 2020. That's a tough one. This is Brassel territory.
That includes Bayern Munich players as well?
Every player that's featured in the starting lineups in PSG's last Champions League final versus Bayern Munich in 2020. So yes, both teams.
Cool. Kylian Mbappe.
Robert Lewandowski.
Neymar.
He's in there.
Do you know what? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Di Maria.
He's in there.
Verratti.
Ooh,
That's bad.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
That's a ball drop there from the champion.
Plenty still to go as well. Jim.
Joshua Kimmich.
Joshua Kimmich is in there.
Thiago Silva.
Thiago Silva. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Do you think Verratti?
It's Torres.
Thomas Muller.
Ooh.
Marquinhos.
Lovely.
Correct.
All these ones that I bloody knew. Why did I have to say Verratti?
Manuel Neuer.
Ooh. Yes.
David Alaba.
He was in there. Well done. This is a great round, lads.
Yeah. Serge Gnabry.
Correct.
Well played.
Oui. Très bien.
Messi.
No chance.
No. So that means Jim needs one.
Okay.
Give me one. You got the round, brother.
Big chance for Jim.
It's a tough one. Leon Goretzka.
There. Jim. That's
You've got it. Beautiful. You could have
Ooh, he was the one I was
had
thinking of.
Navas Kera. You could have had Kimpembe. You could have had
Kimpembe.
Bernat Herrera, of course. Whoa, what's going on here with my document? Paredes. You could have had Boateng. You could have had Alphonso Davies, Thiago. And your friend and mine, it's KC. Kingsley Coman.
Kingsley Coman.
Oh, he scored the winner, didn't he?
Apparently so. Right, next round. Marcus,
Hello.
redeem yourself, please.
Okay.
With Jim taking that round. Manages to feature in a Champions League final since 2010. Manages to feature in a Champions League final since 2010.
Pep Guardiola.
Bing!
Is it me?
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp.
Jürgen.
Carlo Ancelotti.
He's been in a few.
Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yes, I like it.
Very nice. Tuchel, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
That's not his actual name. It's just Thomas Tuchel.
My mind has been completely blank. Oh, Pochettino.
Luis Enrique.
I like it.
Diego Simeone.
Is someone making soup?
Luis Enrique? No, that's not right, is it?
Already been said.
You
It's
said
already
it.
been said. Already been said. That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Marcus?
Yes, one's mind does go blank, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final.
Simone Inzaghi?
Correct.
Ooh,
Still
yes.
in. Lovely.
Zinedine Zidane.
Zidane!
Bloody
He's
of
a big un.
course. Come on.
Come on.
It's Torres.
Come on, what's his bastard name?
Place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Oh, for crying out loud, Hitzfeld. It's not Hitzfeld.
Jim?
Marco Rose. Is in it with Dortmund. Forget the Dortmund manager. Was it?
Oh,
you're back in.
Oh, dearie me. Back in. Back in. Marcus, let's have one. Clip that.
This is so piss poor.
This is so much more fun when you're out early.
Yeah, so much fun when you're hosting.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Hansi Flick.
Oh, Marcus Speller, I like that a lot.
Oh no.
JC,
Yes.
Jim Campbell, Jesus Christ, give us one.
Oh God.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Alan Brazil. Who was the Bayern man who completed the treble?
Who was the Bayern man?
Jupp Heynckes.
Jupp
Heynckes.
That's why. Of course, I know that now.
Which is
Of
why
course
when I
know
went to
that now.
Hitzfeld, I knew it was Hitzfeld. I just
He was number 13 on my list. You got Edin
fuck's
Terzic,
sake.
you got Massimiliano Allegri, you've got
Allegri.
Roberto Di Matteo, Louis van Gaal, and Jose Mourinho for crying out loud.
Mourinho went through my mind, and I went,
Yeah.
nah, surely not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought it was pre-2010,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thinking with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Damn it. Terzic
So-
I had, but I couldn't remember his first name.
So what is
That's
it?
who I meant when I said
Jim
Rose.
1, Marcus 1,
Me
Vish,
nil.
fuck all.
Yeah.
One goose egg. Let's kick things off with you, Jim. Nice to be having you. The 20 teams in Europe's top 5 leagues that have scored the most goals so far this season.
Say that again.
I will. The 20. I was about to. The 20 teams in Europe's top 5 leagues that have scored the most goals so far this season in their respective leagues.
Okay. Bayern Munich.
90 fucking 3.
Liverpool.
80 flipping 1.
Barcelona.
90 shitting 1.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris pacing. Fucking G. PSG 85.
Okay.
Napoli.
I'll stop that. Napoli is not in there. Not in the list. Oh no, wait. No, not in the list. It went over 2 pages. Yes. Still not in the list. Pleased to see it not there. Good.
So it's the top 20, but in their respective leagues. So you've got 5 teams from each of the countries.
No. It must
No,
be.
it's
It must be
across
overall.
Europe, presumably. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Manchester City.
Manchester City 67.
Quite a drop off from the ones we were just saying.
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid 69.
Dudes. I'll have Inter.
You can 73.
Thanks, bro.
In at 5.
Arsenal.
Arsenal 64.
Spurs.
63.
Incredibly.
Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it?
That's-
Absolutely amazing. Leverkusen.
68, yeah. Number 8.
Like that, Jim. I like that. I'll have. Who are the big scorers?
It's Torres
Newcastle United.
66.
Wow.
Number 11 in our list.
Okay, it's getting tricky now. Chelsea?
Chelsea, yeah. 62. Number 18.
Yeah, I had them lined up, Jim. You bugger. Let's go. It's so difficult. Aston Villa.
Unfortunately, Jim.
He's done it.
He's done it.
Jim Campbell
Nice.
wins.
Yes! Done it. The man with the belt. Go on, who did we miss?
Atlanta, Marseille, Dortmund, Frankfurt, Lyon, Nissan, Villarreal at the back on 60. So technically we had 21. Monaco,
Frankfurt,
and at number 17, Brentford.
Brentford.
62 goals. Well done them.
What a joke Serie A is. Napoli haven't scored any goals.
Oh, dear.
They've
Well,
had to win it.
what a victory for Jim Campbell,
Well done,
everybody.
Jim Campbell.
He's the belt
Excellent
holder
work.
now, going into the live shows.
Belt up,
Yeah.
everyone.
Vish, another Jack's Encyclopedia goes where you didn't even get around.
I know, yeah.
What a journey.
The empire has fallen.
You had the...
We're just swapping it around. We're like, yeah, let's have the belts.
You think you're going to get it back? Are you?
You
You had it for 1 week.
Yes.
1 week.
More recently than you.
What 1 week song was that?
For my 17. I thought Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, right.
And then I got on the wrong end.
Spin. You got that.
Yeah.
Jim,
thing I
which
have.
Pitbull song would you like to bring in the weekend?
How many do we know?
Yeah, the one Pitbull song I know that I can't remember the name of. That one will do.